Welcome to another episode of Football Scientific with me, Aaron Sauter. I'm a writer for the UFL News Hub and the CFL News Hub. I cover the San Antonio Brahmas, the Hamilton Tiger Cats, the IFL, and the NAL, along with the ELF, European League of Football. Today, my co-host, Timmy the Trash Talking Tiger Shark, is joining me. We're going to go through several pieces of information about several different types of football. First, we're going to do power rankings of the NAL. Our power rankings of the NAL. Yes, me and Timmy worked together today in a meeting. We had a programming meeting, and we decided to put together some NAL power rankings based on the first 2 weeks of games. Not every team has played yet, but this is based on the first 2 weeks of games. Timmy really thought he had some good things going. I had some great things going. We'll also talk about some happenings in the CFL. The UFL is going to have some scrimmages tomorrow and going to have cut day at the end of the week. I know I said that last week. It changes all the time. They don't communicate well from training camps in the UFL. That's probably good because you don't want to know all the details, I don't think. And then we're going to get ready for games next week from the UFL, so that should be pretty fun. And then I got a whole swarm of NFL transactions, okay? All right, so first let's go to the NAL Power Rankings. Let's get it, okay? So first, number one in the NAL, in my mind, in Timmy's mind right now, our mind, is the Omaha Beef, okay? They're number one because they're 2-0. They're the only 2-0 team. They did lose a preseason game, but who cares about preseason games? They've yet to lose an NAL game, okay? The Carolina Cobras, they looked really good. They looked balanced. They had a good defense. They had a good running game. They had a good passing game. They made some mistakes. They came out looking real rusty against the Wheeling Miners, but they got the win. They pulled away in the second half as I expected them to do. The Beaumont Renegades are number 3. Why? Because they beat the Sioux City Bandits, and that's really the only data point I have that's meaningful for them. They beat the Sioux City Bandits. I would have the Sioux City Bandits number 3 right now, based on them being Idaho Horsemen, but they lost to the Beaumont Renegades by 3 points. I don't know what that means yet, but I do know it means Beaumont's in front of the Sioux City Bandits. Sioux City Bandits are number 4. Okay, they're 1-1. As we talked about, they got beat by the Beaumont Renegades. We'll see what that means here over the next couple of weeks. Right now, what it means is they're one of the top 2 in the American Conference. They can make the playoffs right now. Beaumont Renegades are in the Eastern Conference, okay, with the Carolina Cobras. Colorado Spartans, I have it number 5. They're 1-1. They beat the Wheeling Miners when the Miners didn't have a kicker. They got a kicker now. They lost to the Omaha Beef by 20-some points, okay? So where are they at? They're somewhere better than Wheeling and worse than Omaha. They're somewhere in between there. I don't know where, so I got them at 5, okay? Columbus Lions have yet to play an NAL game. They beat the Peak State Cats. They beat them 85-0. That doesn't mean anything. Peak State Cats are not in NAL, okay? So Columbus Lions, they play the Carolina Cobras this weekend. We'll really find something about the Carolina Cobras and the Columbus Lions, I think. That should be a close game. Columbus Lions are used to dominating teams. Carolina Cobras are used to playing great football. We'll see what happens. If one of those teams get blown out, we will know that one of those teams is a pretender and not a contender. I believe both teams will play well, and I think the Columbus Lions will win because of the home game. It's hard to win on the road in the NAL. Okay, the Wheeling Miners, they are number 17. They're 0-2, but they played solid, really solid against Colorado Spartans. They were right in that game till the end. Their defense is sound. They have a decent offense. Against the Carolina Cobras, they sputtered on offense. They turned the ball over, gave us some defensive scores, which was the difference in the game. They played solid football, though, and they have a kicker now. I think they're better than what they seem. I just can't tell where they're at compared to the Columbus Lions, the teams that haven't played yet. The Shreveport Rougarou. I would love to say they're the top team in the NAL, but right now I can't say that. The only data point we have is they got beat 50-18 by the Omaha Beef. We know the Omaha Beef is the best, but we know 50-18, it's not that great. So, Shreveport Rougarou, we'll learn a lot about them this week as they play the Wheeling Miners. We'll find out how good they are. If they get beat by the Wheeling Miners, Rougarou are not very good. They got a fun name, though. I like their name. Okay, number 9, I got the Idaho Horsemen. Why? Because they don't have any running game. They don't play any defense. They just have a wide open passing offense or running quarterback. That's too easy to stop. I believe they're going to struggle all season. The rest of these teams have some balance. They got some offense, they got some defense, they got some running game, they got some passing game. That's what you need to win in the NAL, okay? Right now, I don't see Idaho Horsemen. I keep wanting to mess their name up. Do not have that. Boop. Okay, next, CFL news, the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Whoop, whoop. Let's go, Tiger Cats. Here's Tyler, the Tiger. Whoop, whoop. Hamilton Tiger Cats. My head's up backwards. Oh, God, my head's up you? Okay, Hamilton Tiger Cats. That's a good call, man. I'm glad my head's back on the right way. I'm kind of upset, you know. I thought I was headless, or I didn't see my face. I didn't see my face. Okay, so Hamilton Tiger Cats released their official 2025 coaching staff. Some coaches have come back, many from the offense. The offense was really good last year. Many from special teams. Special teams really good last year. After they made a special teams coordinator move, first 5 games, special teams were horrible. Did not even look like professional football. But they replaced them with Desmond Knight. Looked a lot better. And then defensively, last year their defense was really bad. So the defense has been shook up, both from free agency, but also from the coaching staff, okay? So, head coach, offensive coordinator Scott Milanovic comes back. Boom. Let's see if we can turn this thing around after not making the playoffs last year. Sad face. Sad face. Okay, quarterback coach Jared Baines is back. That's good. He worked really well with Bo Levi Mitchell. Bo Levi Mitchell had the best year of his career in recent years, so that was really nice. Wide receiver coach Naaman Roosevelt's back. We're loaded at wide receiver with the Hamilton Tiger Cats, so it's good to have a receiver coach that's worked with a guy before, has some chemistry. It should just keep it rolling, okay? Running backs coach James Tuck. Now, the running backs are been in flux a little bit, okay, with Greg Bell and James Butler and stuff like that. Greg Bell's the guy. But James Tuck was the fullback for the Hamilton Tiger Cats last year. He decided to retire from playing. He's now the running backs coach. He should have instant chemistry, probably more than the other coaches, because he's played along with these guys. They went to battle together. So James Tuck should have the inside lane and helping these running backs be the best they can be, giving the Hamilton Tiger Cats a running threat. That's what you need to win a Grey Cup. You need to be able to run the ball. You need to be able to pick up large gashes of yards and then pass the ball. You got to have balance. Balance is the key to everything if you don't get the hint here, okay? Another new coach is the offensive line coach, Brendan Walsh. Why didn't he need an offensive line coach? Because Dennis Knight was the offensive line coach, now he's special teams coordinator. Okay, offensive quality control coming back for another season, Meyer Spittelnick. Okay, I did a story on him last year. He has a lot of experience, especially with the Hamilton Tiger Cats and youth sports football. He's a good asset to have as quality control. On the defensive side, things have changed a lot. We already know defensive coordinator Brent Monson has been added. He spent 15 years with the Calgary Stampeders. The last couple as their defensive coordinator. He is now the defensive coordinator of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. He's also made defensive coordinator of the CFL Combine. Okay, they have maintained defensive back Braden Isaac. That's good because they have one of the best secondaries in the league. And you have guys he's worked with before, Jamal Peters and Stavros Casantonis. And these guys, they have chemistry already. They already worked. Lawrence was the third. They've already worked together. It should keep things rolling on the defensive backfield, which is important. If you want to win the CFL, you got to win the O-line, D-line, defensive backfield, and you got to have a quarterback that can manage the game. Okay? Tiger Cats have most of that. Right now, they're taking care of that. They're trying to get that D-line bulked up. The help of that D-line, Casey Creenan has been added as a defensive line coach, trying to get that thing turned around. Their 7-man box is weak, okay, which makes sense. They also hired linebacker coach Elijah Summers or something like that. I know I got this from the past. Elijah Sandweiss. I wrote an article about him on CFL News Hub. I couldn't read my own handwriting for a second. That's sad. But Elijah Sandweiss comes from like LSU and Rutgers. And he spent a lot of time at the college level. And he should be able to be helpful to help those linebackers step up. Boom, they need to step up. Kyle Wilson and stuff, so they need to come out and make some things happen. Also, late afternoon today, Hamilton Tiger Cats on the CFL transactions list. It shows that he signed American defensive lineman Tyshawn Render. He has spent some time with the Miami Dolphins, 2020, 2021. He spent time with the New Jersey Generals in the USFL, 2020, 2023, getting 21 solo tackles, 22 assists, 5 sacks. He spent some time in the UFL last year with the Memphis Showboats, 19 tackles, 0.5 sacks. Boom. He went to Middle Tennessee State from 2015 to 2019. That's Tyshawn Render. I'm going to write a full article about him tomorrow morning. So check out UFL News Hub tomorrow morning and my Substack, as I'm going to be writing an article about the addition of Tyshawn Render to the Hamilton Tiger Cats roster. The Calgary Stampeders have signed American linebacker Brent DeLuca. He played at Charlotte. I've heard of Ben DeLuca. I said Brent, but it's Ben DeLuca. And he played at Charlotte, University of North Carolina, Charlotte. I've heard of him. I just don't know where I place him. American defensive back Clifford Chapman has retired from the CFL. He played at University of Tennessee or Texas, San Antonio. Okay, it's a live show, even though it's taped. I don't do any cuts. Okay, we don't do any cuts, Red. It's straight up punk rock here. We're going hardcore. Okay. All right. Next in the UFL, Houston Renegades. They have signed offensive tackle T.J. Bradley. They have released Nick Correa. They have, I mentioned yesterday, they signed defensive line Fidel Brown, who had been released by the DC Defenders. Big news coming out of James Larson, the UFL insider that talks to those teams all the time. He said roster cuts are expected Thursday and Friday after some scrimmages tomorrow. Okay, so we should expect scrimmages tomorrow. Probably see some stuff on Twitter about that. Not a lot of coverage. They don't get a lot of coverage for their training camp. But we're going to see the Arlington, we're not going to see, but someone's going to see the Arlington Renegades take on the St. Louis Battlehawks in a scrimmage. The San Antonio Brahmas will take on the Houston Roughnecks. The Memphis Showboats will take on the Birmingham Stallions. The Michigan Panthers will take on the DC Defenders. These scrimmages are meant to be a chance to get people on film and see who needs to be cut and who wins the job. Now, at this point, it's 2.5 weeks in a training camp. You would think the coaching staff knows who's going to be cut and who's going to be released, but you got to see them in game action. I'm sure they've had some scrimmages before this, but this is the big ones. These are like the last preseason game where they're trying to like make the cut. Okay, they start playing games next week. Memphis Showboats defense coordinator Jaron Horton talked to James Larson and said that OB Melfinwu, okay, has transitioned from to a linebacker spot after being a safety for them. They're hoping that can show up to the front seven, okay. The Arlington Renegades, they have signed running back Day Hunter. He's coming back. Of course, he signed a long time ago, but they're also bringing in Kalen Ballage, Ike Iranboer, okay? Why is that important? You need good running backs to run Bob Stoops' offense with Arlington Renegades. He likes to run power, counter, ISO, and play action off of that. So you need a group of running backs that are going to make it through the season. You know, last year they got hit real hard by injuries. And they're a tough team when they're healthy. San Antonio Brahmas in week 1 will have a hard time with that Arlington Renegades team. But last year they got beat up. Everyone got beat up. Arlington Renegades really got beat up, though, and had a really bad start to the season. Goodbye, UFL. Okay, in the NFL, we're going to finish up with the NFL. The Philadelphia Eagles had defensive end Brandon Graham retire after his 15th season in the NFL. He holds the record for the most games played as a Philadelphia Eagle, 206 games. He plays his entire career there, okay. Pittsburgh Steelers, there was a story that came out about them on The Score. Pittsburgh Steelers defensive line Cameron Hayward is just frankly tired of hearing about Aaron Rodgers and the quarterback situation. He says, let's get past this. Let's move on to what we need to deal with business-wise. The quarterback isn't really that important. Why are we still talking about Aaron Rodgers? Aaron Rodgers, bounce, baby. Bounce. People are still fighting over him. Bounce. Just stop encouraging his behavior, and then it'll be fine. Cameron Hayward even said if Aaron Rodgers needs to go to one of those dark retreats, he'll go with him to help him figure out what to do. Either be a Steeler or don't be a Steeler. Figure something out, bro. Come on, Aaron Rodgers. Okay, Buffalo Bills linebacker Matt Milano, he spent the last couple seasons being injured. In 2023, he signed a 2-year contract for $28.3 million. But they had decided because of the injuries, they cut his pay by $3 million in 2025. This also makes, they did not extend him with that pay cut. He'll be a free agent in 2026. Okay, he has 1 year left on his contract. He needs to come out and have a big year. It's a prove-it year for him. He's trying to earn another contract somewhere, if not with Buffalo. Okay, he can still reclaim his money by incentives, probably playing incentives and tackles. I really like a contract like that where he pay you a base salary and you have to hit certain performance marks to get the rest of your pay. I think it's a big motivator. Matt Milano should have a great season because he's trying to earn another contract, okay? Injuries have been holding him back. Boop. Okay, Cincinnati Bengals. Head coach Zach Taylor came out in some article I read that after they have re-signed and extended Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, that they should be able to make a run for a championship. He's ignoring the fact they need a running back, a real running back, like a workhorse running back. They need an edge rusher. Is it going to be Trey Hendrickson? I keep hearing everything back and forth, back and forth. Trey Hendrickson can be traded for. No one's trading for him. What's going to happen there? They need an edge rusher, okay? I heard they might draft one. I think it's more important to get a running back, but, I mean, if they have a running back, they finish that offense. That's the difference, okay? They get an edge rusher. The defense still has a lot of work to do. But if you get a running back that finishes the offense, you have explosive offense and probably win more than half your games to make the playoffs because of that explosive offense. But that's just my opinion. That's worth nothing. Okay. They also need defensive backs. The most recent draft predictions I've seen, the mock drafts, have them picking an edge rusher and defensive back early on, maybe a tight end. Things they don't need. They need a running back. They need to get a running back. Okay. Minnesota Vikings signed cornerback Jeff Okudah. Signed cornerback Jeff Okudah. Chicago Bears have signed offensive lineman. It's a center, Doug Kramer. They keep building up their offensive line. They're trying to make a run with that. They don't have a running back. Watch out for them getting Ashton Jeanty. I hope they don't get him. I hope they get someone else. I hope the Commanders make a move for Ashton Jeanty. That would make them very good. They would put them in Super Bowl contention if they did that. They have signed wide receiver David Moore to a one-year contract. Detroit Lions have signed running back Craig Reynolds. They've signed tight end Shane Zylstra. They've signed defensive line Pat O'Connor. He's re-signed with the Lions. Okay. Next, Green Bay Packers have signed wide receiver Mecole Hardman to a one-year contract. They signed offensive guard Aaron Bush, something like that. Okay, Houston Texans have signed fullback Jacob Johnson and offensive guard Laken Tomlinson. The Las Vegas Raiders have signed cornerback Darnay Holmes. The LA Chargers have signed center Bradley Bozeman. They've also signed Andre James. They've also signed defensive tackle Naquan Jones. Okay. Minnesota Vikings have also signed wide receiver Tim Jones. They came to an agreement with him. He's not been officially signed, but he's come to an agreement. They signed center Ryan Kelly. They got rid of their center yesterday. They gave him away. The Patriots picked him up. We'll talk about that more in a second. But they picked up center Ryan Kelly from the Colts. I think I talked about that last week, but I threw it in there because it makes sense. They gave up a center. They got a center, so they got a replacement. Offensive tackle Justin School has signed with the Vikings. Cornerback, Jeff Okudah. I think I said that. He came from Houston. He should be an upgrade for a defensive backfield. Linebacker Eric Wilson. Okay, they signed him. New England Patriots have signed quarterback Joshua Dobbs to be a backup quarterback for them. Drake May's their guy. They have a backup quarterback, Joshua Dobbs. They have signed center Garrett Bradbury from the Minnesota Vikings. They released, he was released by Minnesota, yesterday. He's been signed already by New England Patriots. I've heard he's kind of bad, but the Patriots aren't very good, so maybe it makes sense. New Orleans Saints have signed offensive tackle Landon Young for 1 year. The New York Giants have signed defensive tackle Jeremiah Ledbetter. The New York Jets have signed Derek Nottie. He won 3 Super Bowls with the Chiefs. He's a defensive tackle. See if he has gas left in the tank. Sometimes the good teams let those guys go because they're out of gas in the tank. Teams like the Jets will overpay them, and maybe that's what's happening here as the Jets pick somebody up that doesn't have any more tread left on the tires. But we'll see. The Pittsburgh Steelers signed defensive end Isaiah Loudermilk to a 1-year contract. San Francisco 49ers signed Siran Neal, cornerback Siran Neal to a 1-year deal. Seattle Seahawks have signed offensive guard Dylan Radunz. They have not signed him officially. He's going to go visit Seattle. He may not get signed, but last time someone came visit Seattle, Sam Darnold, they signed him same day. I suspect Dylan Radunz is going to be signed. If not tomorrow, then the next day, okay? Tampa Bay Buccaneers have re-signed cornerback Bryce Hall for 1 year. Washington Commanders made a flurry of moves. They re-signed wide receiver Noah Brown. They signed offensive tackle Foster Cyril. They signed defensive end Jacob Martin. They signed linebacker Nick Ballore. And they signed cornerback Noah Igbenoghihi, okay? So what you're seeing right now from most NFL teams, now they're finishing the rest of the roster. They went for their splash moves in the first wave of free agency. Then they picked up some pieces in the second wave. And now they're in the third wave. They're filling out the rest of their depth chart, okay? They're filling the depth chart. So that's what a healthy team does right now. They're building up their roster for training camp. So they can go in with 85 and then cut those guys down and keep it the best of the best, okay? It's not like the Bengals are not done yet. They're still going to be making some free agency moves before the draft. With what money? With what money? I don't know. Probably Trey Hendrickson's money. I mean, maybe he's too old for them. He's too old for them. Maybe. No, I like him. You like Trey Henderson? I do like Trey Henderson. Okay, Tyler. So maybe they'll resign him. I heard maybe they'll resign him. I heard maybe they won't. Nothing's been done yet, so maybe they're not going to do it. It's hard to say. Tomorrow's a new day. We'll find out. Also tomorrow, I went to my NAL Power Rankings today. I'm still working through on Football Scientific, laser focus, my previews for the IFL teams. I believe tomorrow I'll go with my IFL Power Rankings. You can always see IFL content on In the Alley with Cody Bryant. He mentioned our channel today on his playoff preview. I'll be doing something similar to that. I worked a little bit with Cody Bryant last year before I became ill. I had to be hospitalized for a while. And I did not bounce back. It took me a long time to bounce back in terms of like my health. And I just kind of quit working with him. I just kind of dropped it. But I'm working now for me. But Cody Bryant's a good guy, good coverage. He's all IFL, which I can respect. I would get a little bored just talking about the IFL. But that guy loves it, so that's cool. And if you want more in-depth knowledge, he has more depth than I do, okay? Although our predictions tend to be spot on, very similar. Last year, we were pretty much neck and neck on our predictions for the first half of the season, okay? All right, so that's the deal. Tomorrow is Wednesday. I'll go over my IFL Power Rankings. I will talk about the business of the day, whatever happens tomorrow. And then we're preparing for predictions for the NAL Week 3 and IFL Week 1 coming up on Thursday. That's the plan, okay? Make sure you check out Football Scientific Laser Focus and go into the IFL teams and their team previews. I got one more group of 2 to go over, and I'm going to go over my playoff previews, my playoff predictions like Cody did. Okay, so that's the plan. If you liked the video, subscribe. If you didn't like the video, don't worry about it. Who cares? Like it if you want. Like it if you want. I'm still going to make videos whether you like it or not, whether you subscribe or not. I'm still making videos. I'm hype about football. I'm having a great time, and that's the main thing. Right, Timmy? That's the main thing. We're loving football. We are loving football. And if you love football, join me. I'll try to get you better. I'll try to get better about things. I'm still kicking the tires on this thing, this podcast business, okay? Check out my articles on UFL News Hub and CFL News Hub. I'm adding a CFL News Hub article tomorrow about the Tyshawn Render. We'll see what that's about in detail. We'll have more Football Scientific tomorrow. Check out Laser Focus, our shorts, and have a great night. Enjoy your evening. Good night, Football Scientific community. Good night.